guys, welcome to this channel. My name is Levo Magbeni. I started this channel because anytime I build a project with vanilla JavaScript, I want to use this channel as a medium to bring my code out and show people how I did what I did. So this is not a professional YouTube channel where you'll be seeing crash course. You're just going to be seeing vanilla JavaScript project because that's what I'm currently doing now, and I'm doing this to improve my skill and to improve the way I learn, because I believe if you can teach something, there's no way you are going to forget about that thing. So I'll just put my code out here on this channel, a video of any project I do, and try to explain what I did. So this is my first video on this channel. I'm just starting today. So we're going to be building something very simple, an image carousel. Before we go into Visual Studio Code and start writing some code, I would like to show you a preview of the project. So this is the image carousel, and this is the first image. If you click, if you click the right button, it's going to slide in from the top left corner, and if you click back, it's going to slide in from the top right corner. And we are going to do this using CSS animation, and we are going to use JavaScript to be switching the class, because this animation here, we are basically adding a class and moving it from our JavaScript each time we click this button. So that's what we are going to be building. So without wasting much time, let's go into Visual Studio and start writing some code. But I already have a folder created um, on my desktop. I called it Carousel with just I already created index.html, my CSS and my script file, so that this is not going to take. I don't want this to be a very long video, and these are the image we'll be using. I'm just going to leave it like this, but I think it's better for you to like create a folder and put all these images inside. But I'm just going to leave mine like this because this is not a serious video. So let's go into Visual Studio Code, and this is my index.html file. So I'm just going to add my boilerplate, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to call this image carousel. I'm going to call this image carousel, and I'm going to put. I'm using font awesome. This button we have here, these two buttons, the right button and the left button, is from font awesome. So I'm just going to include font awesome CDN, my kit, font awesome kit. I'm just going to paste it here. So just with this script, I'll be able to use font awesome class on my code. I'm going to add my style sheet. Yeah, then I'm going to put my script below. um so I'm just going to um have a class, a container with the class of heading. I'm just going to call this heading, then I'm going to have an h1 inside h1, and I'm going to say carousel. um just open this with live server. So this is just what we have here. I'm going to bring this to the side here and my code here, so that I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. Then I'm going to have another div with the class of container. Then I'm going to have another div with the class of card, and I'm going to have a button with the class of forward. and I'm going to use font class. I'm going to put an I tag here, class of FAF. These just front awesome classes. So uh, why is not what I want. Need to get rid of this. I have extension that allows me to write font awesome class very easily. I think that's what changed what I'm supposed to write. So if I save, why is this like this? Get rid of this. Let's see. Um, I have my network. I have to connect my system to network for the icon to load. So just load that, and yeah, we have it. So I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to copy this button, and we are going to have backward, backward. And we're just going to change this to left. I'm going to have an image. I'm just going to give it an ID of image in case. Then for the source, I have all the images. We're actually going to put this in an object, then change the image dynamically from our JavaScript. But I'm just going to copy this and paste here and save, and it's going to give us this image. So this is all for our HTML. Let's go into our CSS and start styling. So I'm just going to get rid of the basic styling, remove the board margin and padding, set padding to 0, padding, set it to 0, box sizing to border box, and I'm going to the image, I'm going to give it a width of 100%, so it's going to take all of its container. I'm going to give it a height of 100%, and I'm going to set the position to absolute, so we can alter the position of the image. Then the heading, remember we have a class of heading. I'm going to use display flex. I'm going to use flex box to center this H1 inside to the middle, and justify content, can't type. I'm not good at typing and talking, so you just have to bear with me. Set to center, then align items, set it to center. What this is going to do is that it's going to center this um, H1 here vertically and horizontally. Justify content horizontally, align items vertically. So I'm going to give it a height of 10 VH. So we save. So this is what we have. Then next we are going to do the before that I just want to add a button. I'm just going to take the button. We have two buttons, and I'm going to set the button position. I'm going to set position to absolute. Yeah, So then I'm going to give it a padding. I'm going to give it padding of one rem, and I'm going to set the v index. That's why we're not seeing it, because the image is above it right now. Set to 1 because I want it to be on top of everything. So we have the button here. So I'm going to use the class I gave to each of them. We have one with forward, and I'm going to set it right um right 0, then um top 50%. Save. So we have that here. I'm going to make right 5% so that it's not. Let's just open this and see what we have. Right 5%. We want to add the percent sign. Yeah, so we have it. I'm going to copy this and do the same for backward. Say backward top 50%. Then want to make the left 5%. Yeah, so we have our button. Next, what we want to do to create our animation. So I'm going to come under the image. I'm going to add a class of sliding. I'm going animation, and I'm just going to add the name of the animation. I'm going to call this slide in. Then I'm going to set to 1 seconds. So this is just what I want for the animation. We are going to do another one for slide out. This should be out. um just going to select all of this. It should be out. Slide out. Nothing is going to happen yet, so let me make this to be bigger. Slide out. We're going to create the animation. So come here and say at keyframe. So we have sliding, and at 0%, I want um the one sliding is when we click this right button, you're going to slide in from the top left. So left. Remember we added that's why we added position absolute to the image. So when we add this class, we can actually change the position of the image. So I'm going to say left minus 100%. So that's going to bring it inside, going to take it out of the page. Then I'll just set the height to 10% because I want it to the height to be 10% from 0%, and increase it to 100% within 1 second. And I'm going to yeah, top. Let's just see what we have here. So you know what I'm doing. Uh, oh, you see the way it's fading in. So we want to set opacity to 0. So I'll come here at 100%, at 100%, 100%. I just want left to be 0. So I'm just going to copy this and do the same for right, for slide out. I'm going to change the left to right. and save. So if I go to my HTML and I add the class of, let's add the class of slide in to this image and save. You see, let's reload. You see it slides from the top left corner. If I change this to slide out, it's going to slide from the top right corner. So we're just going to get rid of this. We'll be adding the class from our JavaScript. So let's go into our JavaScript and make this image carousel work. So this is our JavaScript. So we're going to bring in the button, the forward and backward button, and this image because that's what we need right now. So I'm going to declare a variable. I'm going to call this forward btn, and I'm going to use query selector, and I'm going to select it to the class of forward. Remember that's what we had in the HTML, and I'm going to declare another variable. I'm going to call this backward btn. I know it stands somehow, but if you have a better name to call it, that's good. So it's query selector, and I'm going to use the class of backward yeah. Then I'm going to select the image with the ID of image we gave to the image. So I'm going to say image, and I'm going to set use document.querySelector and an ID. So I'm going to use uh, so what I want to do is that I want to bring the images because we only have one image right now. So I want to bring in uh, the names of the images, and these are just images I have saved in the root folder of this project. So I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to put it as an array so we can set the source of the image from our JavaScript so that the image can change. So I'm going to say const images, and I'm going to set it to an array. I already have the images organized there, so I'm just going to copy it like this and paste it here. So this is our image. So this is what we'll be working with. So I'm going to declare another variable. I'm going to call it slide index, but I'm going to use let because we are going to be changing the value. So you don't want to use const to display this variable. So I'm going to call it slide index, and I'm going to set it to 0. So now we want to add event listener to our buttons, the forward and backward buttons. So when we click, something will happen. So I'm going to say forward button. I'm going to add event listener, forward btn dot add event listener, and we want to listen for a click event. So when we click that button, we want something to happen. I'm just going to put a callback here, and I'm going to call it next slide. And I'm going to add event listener for the back button and listening for a click event. And I'm going to call this previous. Why is this? Um, this. What? I'm going to call this previous slide. Yeah. So I'll come down here and create the function next slide. function. Next slide, and let's just console.log click to test and see if it's working. So let's just save. So I'll make this a little bit bigger. Then I'll open my console. Open my console. And let's click. You see, we get click. We are getting this error because we have not created function for this previous slide. So let's just create. Let's just create that. This bigger. So let's come here. Say function previous slide, and let's console.log click to see if it's working. Save. Uh, Save. Open our console and click. So we are getting it. So now we can do something with that event, because we don't just want to get uh, click. When you click that button, you want something to happen. So I'm going to get rid of this click here, and first thing I want to do, I want to set this slide index here to be the index of this array, because uh, array is zero based in JavaScript. So it's 0, 1, 2. So I want to increment this slide index and set it to the index of this array, and use the set attribute to get this image. Let's just do it so you see. So I'm going to say slide index plus to increment it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to say set um image. Yes, we're going to use the image and say dot set attribute. And what the attribute we want to set is the source attribute, and I want to set it to, so I'm going to use template literals here. I want to set it to these images and make slide index the index. So source attribute, and I'm going to say image. Don't template literals, and I'll just put this like this, and we're going to pass in slide index here. Remembering we're incrementing slide index. So um, if I click, this just going to next. Well, you see it's next thing, but we are not actually getting the value. Let's just reload this. We're supposed to be getting the image and click. Oh, this should be images. This should be images. So let's save, and if we click, we get the next image. So let's just reload this. Next, we want to be able to make it slide in. So to do that, we have to add that class of sliding, and we also want to remove the class of sliding. So to do that, we are going to say image dot class list dot add, and we are going to add the class of sliding from our CSS sliding. And let's save, and let's click again. And you see it's sliding, but if we click to the next image, it's not sliding. So what we want to do, we want to add and remove this class. So to do that, we are going to create a function and use set timeout to remove this class of sliding within 1 second and add it back so that when we click the next image, it's going to slide. So to do that, I'm going to come below the previous slide and I'm going to create a function. I'm going to call this animation timeout function and say animation timeout, yeah. And I'm going to pass in a parameter called animation. Then I'm going to use set timeout is going to take a callback. Then I'm going to say image dot class list dot remove. This time I want to remove. Then I'm going to pass in animation and want this to happen under 1 second. So this milliseconds, so we're going to add 1000 milliseconds, 1000 milliseconds, 1 second. So I'll come here. After adding it, we need to remove it, and so we're going to call this animation timeout here, and we're going to pass in this class of slide in as a parameter. So let's save. And when I click, you see it sliding. If I should click again, it's going to slide in because what's happening is that it's removing it and setting it. So this is going to run from top to bottom. It's adding it here and it's removing it after 1 second. So yeah, so we want to do the same thing for the back button. So I'm just going to copy this. And paste here, but want to rather decrease and change here to slide out. Remember we have class of slide out, so let's click back and it goes back. But if we get to the end, you see there's nothing showing, so we want to validate this, and if it's if it gets to the end, we want it to start from the other end, and if it gets to the end, we want to start from the beginning. So to do that, we are just going to use an if statement. So we are going to say if slide index, so let's just do it, if slide index is greater or equal to images, the images array dot length. We want to get the length property. If it's equal or greater, then we want to set slide index to 0. We want to set slide index to 0. To put this um, um, in parentheses, and so we can have multiple values. Let's say else slide index. We want to set slide index equal to 0, and we want to set the attribute, the image attribute back. We just want to copy this line here, this line here, this line here, copy it and put it here. So if slide index is greater than images dot length, we are setting slide index to be 0, so it goes back to the beginning, and we are resetting the image attributes back to this slide index here. So let's just save and let's try that out. So it's sliding slides, slides. mm, Sorry, my computer is a little bit slow. Slides, and see when it gets to the end, it comes back. So we are going to do the same thing for this one, but we are going to say if slide index is if it's less than 0, what do we want to do? We don't want to set slide index to be equal to 0. We want to set slide index to be the last element, the last index of the array. So to get the last index, we are going to say images images dot length minus 1. Yeah, so this is the end. If I click um why are we getting this? Oh, we need to set slide index slide index to be equal to images dot length minus 1 to get the last index of image. So you click this, you see it goes back to the end. So I think that's all for the image gallery. I'm going to you can check my GitHub repo. I have the link to my GitHub repo on my channel, on this channel. If you need the code, the one with comments, I have the one well commented. You can check it. Just search for Carousel on my GitHub repo. I believe that's the one on the top right now. So you are just going to see it and you can take this code. Thanks for watching.